Well, I'm over here at the Raleigh Fairgrounds getting ready to go into the Raleigh Antiques Extravaganza. So I figured since I have a phone that takes acceptable video and slightly less acceptable audio, let's go in and do this. So I was inside the show and I was trying to do a little bit of videoing in there, and every time you go into a booth, they're like straight up your butt. So I wasn't doing any talking because I was trying not to attract attention to the fact that I was filming at their booths. So I had just turned off my camera in this one booth, and the guy comes up to me and he just kind of slides up behind me. He goes, "Are you filming?" And I looked at him and I went, "No, sir, there was a Pokemon in your booth." Thank you, Pokemon Go. So now it is many hours later, and I am home. I am in my pajamas, and I have my mop tied up on top of my head. Thank God. That place today had no air conditioning. I don't know what happened. I was talking to one of the vendors, and she said yesterday they were freezing to death. So she brought a sweater with her today, and of course today they decided not to put the air conditioning on. So between having no air conditioning in the building and then going outside where it was incredibly humid, and now we are dealing with storms that we've been dealing with for the past hour, my hair is just all over the place, and it's just kind of grabbing onto things, and just, it's got a mind of its own. So it's tied up, and I look like hell, but I don't care. I wanted to show you guys what I got at the Extravaganza this afternoon, so sit tight. Okay, so the first thing I got was actually two things. It was a set. I got it from the same vendor, and they are wood gouges. Nice little wooden handles, and for people who like to collect these things, here is, that's the maker, and I believe what he told me was the initials of the original craftsman who owned them. So this is this particular one here, and then the smaller one here. They are steel with the bend and the wood. Nice little things, and yes, I am actually going to use them. I'm trying to get into woodworking, and these, once I get good at it, or at least somewhat good at it, I'm thinking these are going to be pretty useful for just making small designs and maybe some repairs and things of that nature. So really glad I found these. I'm really excited about it, and he took a heck of a lot of money off of these from what they're actually marked at, and I'm very thankful for that. I also got this little handsome little gentleman here, and this is on a wood piece, and it does hang, and yeah, I am going to hang him up. I don't know what it was that drew me to him, but I just really liked him. So I decided he had to come home with me. He wasn't too expensive, so she had a lot of stuff like this, but a lot of it was like, you know, in jewels and things like that. They were so neat. The stuff that was made out of shells and jewels and stuff, oh my God, it was so neat, but it was so expensive. And I kind of like this anyway because you can actually, you know, make out his face and everything, and you can actually kind of see who it is. I mean, I have no idea who this guy is, but it's nice to be able to make out a face. And last but not least is one of my favorite pieces. Now, I didn't buy a whole lot there. It's an antiques fair. Who can afford all that stuff? I wanted everything there, but I couldn't afford, like, even some of it. So I only bought a couple of really small things. But this next one, I'm so glad I found this. Most of you don't know my big collection. Everybody's got their own big collections. My big collection, I collect nutcrackers. And I got a nutcracker. I kind of like him. He's really neat. He's got a little, I guess that's a snowflake there up in his hat. And he's all wood. And he's got nice little woolly white hair here. And then there's his little jacket and belt, and then his little feet and his base. And there's part of a label on the bottom, so I'm going to see what is there. I'm going to type into Google and see what I can find out about him, but I am very excited to add him to my collection. I have way too many nutcrackers, but there's always room for one more. I think I'm up to like 60 some nutcrackers now, and I only take them out at Christmas time. We do store them away, so I really only take most of them out around Christmas time. Some of them stay out year-round, and they stay up on the second floor. Nobody, like guests can't see them all, but I kind of like having them around. I've got some that have more fragile pieces. I have some that have gotten quite old. So I keep those out just to keep them from breaking. I've had a couple break, and it's sad when they break, especially when you've had them for 30 years. But this guy, they think, was made in sometime in the 1970s. They didn't know a whole lot about him. He was really affordable, so I went ahead and bought him just because he is such a good-looking nutcracker. I mean, he is just... He's got the rounded legs and everything, and this is a little awkward. His actual lever is a little awkward, and it does power his mouth, obviously. So he's going to stay out year-round just because this is so awkward, and in the container I keep him in, he would take up too much space. So that was all the goodies that I got from the extravaganza this afternoon. So I just love that word. It really was not an extravaganza either. I know in the video I didn't do any talking or anything because, like I said, I wasn't trying to attract any attention. There was nothing around that said that you couldn't video, and like even the guy that came up and asked me if I was videoing, he didn't seem angry. He just seemed kind of, curious, maybe a little confused. But I was trying not to attract too much unwanted attention because I didn't really want to get kicked out. But it wasn't much of an extravaganza. It was a very small show, and it only took up about maybe half of the building. So I don't know. It was kind of neat though. I enjoyed it. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.